everybody, and welcome to another episode of Public Opinion. You're with your hosts, Pam and Vanetta. Hi, Vanetta.
Hi.
Hey, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. The sun was shining today.
Isn't that nice? Especially after coming off all of that snow. The sun is out and the snow is melting.
Yes.
Yes. Well, we are still continuing on with our Black History Month. And today we are going to be focusing on Black businesses. And so we talked once before, Vanetta, about when we were growing up in the communities that we grew up in and how mostly all of the businesses were Black owned.
Right.
And
you went to Black businesses. That's what we did.
Right.
I mean, but we stayed in our neighborhoods.
Yeah. And where did you grow up?
Los Angeles, California.
Right.
Until I was 12 years old.
Okay.
Right. But now my neighborhood was somewhat diverse, and I guess you would say it wasn't all well represented. It was a large Hispanic population in my neighborhood. Now they didn't have any ownership, but it was a lot of Black, well-ran businesses in my neighborhood.
Well, I grew up in the Lee Harvard area of Cleveland, Ohio, and during the 60s and 70s, when I was growing up there, everybody had, everybody who owned a business was Black in my neighborhood. So it was something I was very used to. So like the corner stores were Black owned. We had a Dairy Queen that was Black owned. There was a nightclub around there that was Black owned. There was dentists and doctors. And so there was so many Black owned businesses.
The norm.
Right. It was the norm. And so unfortunately, though, that went away. But we're going to be talking about that with our guest this week. But since we're talking about Black-owned businesses, I wanted to mention some history as it relates to Black-owned businesses. So the first Black-owned business that was like legal was in 1881. It was the E.E. Ward Moving and Storage Company. And it's the oldest African-American owned business in the United States. And then the first Black owned restaurant is called Jones Barbecue. And it's in Marianna, Arkansas. And it's considered to be the oldest Black owned restaurant. It's a barbecue joint. And so, which, there's been a lot of Black barbecue places, but that was the first one. That was the spot. And now do you know who the first Black entrepreneur was?
I do.
Madam
C.J. Walker.
Madam C.J. Walker. That's right. And I really like her story. I like how she capitalized on a need, and she made a lot of money from it. She made a lot of money.
She made a lot, and she helped others with that money.
Yes, she did.
Yes, she did. The first Black millionaire was a woman, and that's something to be very proud of.
Absolutely. Also, there is an estimated 134,000 Black owned businesses in the United States. And unfortunately, though, a lot of Black owned businesses do not make it. They go out of business. And a lot of that is attributed to cash flow issues.
Right.
And
we don't have access to the same capital.
Exactly. And we had trouble with marketing. We have trouble with getting people to patronize, Black owned businesses. So that's what we're going to be talking about today with our special guest. And he's so very special that we're not having any other participants so that we can spend some time really talking with him. And so are you ready to meet our special guest?
Yes.
All right. Our guest this week is Larice Purnell. Larice is the managing partner at CLE Consulting Firm and founder of the Real Black Friday, an initiative to bring awareness and create educational and networking opportunities for Black-owned businesses. During the NBA All-Star Weekend, the Real Black Friday will host their Black Business Expo in Tower City, featuring almost 200 Black-owned businesses. So I am excited about that. That is very impressive.
Too. And I'm glad they're bringing something to Tower City.
Okay. All right. So let's get started and meet our special guest. Well, welcome, Larice Purnell. And thank you so very much for agreeing to be a guest on the show this week.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Oh,
I'm ready to jump in.
You're ready to jump in? I'm ready
I'm
for
ready.
you to jump. We're ready for you to jump in. You know, I find you to be so impressive on so many levels, and we'll talk about that later. But this is Public Opinion Show, and it wouldn't be public opinion if I did not ask you a question and give you the opportunity to answer it. So we're going to see what that public opinion question is. Why is it important to patronize Black or minority-owned businesses?
Oh, so this is going to take the rest of this interview because I can talk about this all night, but I feel like it's good time, and we know that February for us, you know, nationally or globally is Black History Month, but for us in our communities, Black history should be every day. And for us as a community, it is imperative. One, I tell people when I speak all the time, I don't care, because our problems don't just exist in Cleveland. They are the same problems, you know, in different zip codes, area codes that in our direct community. And the reality is, we as small businesses are, you know, we're our neighborhoods. We're the ones that keep neighborhoods safe. We're the ones that kids look up to. We're the ones that are the true role models. We're the ones that are in the school speaking. So entrepreneurs are imperative to the foundation of our communities. I tell people, you know, I do a saying, I say one block at a time, one community at a time, one school at a time, one business at a time. We have to commit to building our businesses because that's how imperative they are to our communities. And that is how, other than home ownership, the next thing in our community that we can build legacies and wealth is through entrepreneurship and through building businesses. So we have to, I would say, dedicate and circulate our dollar within our community to ensure that we're able to build legacies, build some wealth. We already know the wealth gap is 117,000 for the average white family, less than 13,000 for the average Black family. So through entrepreneurship, we can build wealth. So that's why it's important to me.
Okay, I love that answer. That's wonderful. And, you know, we had a show that we did at Christmas time, and it was about the importance of patronizing businesses, small businesses, especially during the holidays. And we were talking about how a lot of small businesses really could give a lot at the time because there were all of those issues with supply chain and that type of thing. But and like you said, it's so important to do that. And Vanetta and I were talking about before we brought you on about how when we were growing up, there were so many Black businesses in our communities. And I grew up in the Lee Harvard area, like I was saying, and it was a norm. It did not seem strange to me. And unfortunately, we kind of went away from that. And like
assimilation,
yes,
we were allowed to move out of our neighborhoods and we took our dollars with us.
And that's right. And we talked about circulation of the dollar on other show too. And we said that I believe it's the Jewish community, a dollar circulates 60 days or something, Asian community, 30 days. And
no, it's the reverse. The Jewish community, 30 days.
Yes, in the Asian
60.
community, yes, absolutely right. And then the Black community, the dollar circulates for what, 6 hours? Was it 3 now? Oh my God, we lost 3 more hours. See, that's crazy. That's ridiculous. And so, Larice, what do you think? What do you attribute that to?
One, you know, just to address that, because I truly believe in what the statement you made. I remember I called business owners when I was growing up the angels in my life. Those were the people that kept the kids off the street. I remember being able to go to Black-owned gas stations and they would let me pump gas, and that would put money in my pocket to keep me, you know, from doing things I shouldn't be doing. I'm going to the Black, you know, drugstore, going in there, they would let me sweep the floors after they closed. And again, it kept me out of trouble. So those are things, when we talk about value, it's not only just money value, it was the impact how that changed my life. And that's, you know, we'll talk more about the Real Black Friday, but one of the reasons I started that, because I understand, again, the importance of us existing in our community is beyond, again, just what's green, but it also is, you know, just that role model, that image that,
seeing,
you know,
yourself,
that
knowing that
seeing,
you can
absolutely,
that.
seeing that Black doctor, seeing that Black pharmacist, that does something to our psyche. When we talk about self-identity, We believe what we can see. We're visual as a people. So I would say one, you kind of talked about that, Vanessa, when you talk, as we start to move in to the suburbs, I always say when I talk, and your husband, he knows I say this because he always smiles, Richard, when I say, we get in our fancy cars and head out to our white picket fence with our 2.5 kids, and we leave our community in our rear view mirror, and we don't commit, to going back. And I truly believe is because we have options. See, then we felt like we didn't have options. We weren't welcome in other places. So it was almost like it wasn't even a choice. It was a mandate at that point. We were forced to stay in our communities. So now with options, people tend to forget about the importance of building each other. So again, remember, as we talk about this though, and I always tell people when I'm teaching, when you look at Saks Fifth Avenue, when you look at Nordstrom, when you look at Ben and Jerry's, when we can keep naming them, those are all last names. So I just always say, name some last names of big brands like that are Black owned. And we play a part because we're the ones with $1.6 trillion in our spending power yearly that help to build those brands. So
and that's you're absolutely right, because a lot of times those family owned businesses that I remember growing up, their children didn't feel the need to carry on the business. And so therefore, it kind of whittled away. And Vanetta, your husband had mentioned on the other show, and I truly believe this is right, that we as a people did not prepare for the results of desegregation and the resulting assimilation that goes along with it.
Parents.
Right.
We don't see the heir appearance that we did before. It was a time that you knew that you were going to grow up and this is what you did. But it is not that case. We have options. I can speak from my husband having his own insurance agency and having 3 sons. We have one who's in the field of insurance. He doesn't work for him, but the other 2 haven't even kind of shown an interest in it. They have other options. The world is much bigger than our world was.
Well, in our quest to achieve that equality, we did not remember that we have a responsibility, though, to continue to build up our neighborhoods, to continue to patronize Black businesses. And it's good to have options, don't get me wrong, but when you're not patronizing the very businesses that were in existence when we were growing up, then they whittle away, and then, then we're left with what we are left with.
But if we don't go, then who goes? Because there are some people who are not going to go when the shingle is hung out and it's a Black man or a Black woman. They're just not going to go to that business.
So you just said, you said a great point, and we can kind of talk about the church. In most cases in our community, Black people will follow a white pastor, but white people won't follow a Black pastor. So just think about it. So it's the same thing with our businesses. So that's why we have an obligation. I always say it's not really an option we have. We're one of the biggest employers of our people. We're the second chance. We're the people that are going to give our people that in our family, our cousin and them that get into some trouble. We're going to give them that second chance. So we have to exist. But statistically, not just in the Black community, just businesses overall, less than 70% of the businesses that exist go to the second generation. Less than 90% go to third generation. So we're talking about 10% of businesses make it third generation. So I think in our community, it is education. I teach financial literacy, throughout the year in different communities. It's like leaving somebody a life insurance policy for $1 million, but you never educated them. You're gone. You're no longer there to tell them what to do with it. It's the same thing with the business. We have an obligation to sit down and have that conversation and not act like the bills of the business is a secret. So we have to have that hard, like, you know what? This is what it's taking for me to keep lights on in this house. This is what it's taking to pay for your college. This is why it's important to your kids, we can make sure that we carry this name on. Legacy, we talk about that. And, you hear people like, I'm building a legacy, but our businesses are legacies. Those are putting your last name on a shingle, like you talked about, that people can ride by in our communities and be uplifted. So again, this is for me, something you can see I'm very passionate
I
about.
see your,
I love
but,
it.
but
Take us to church.
and Vanetta and I also were talking about this one business that Black people will always continue to patronize is the funeral home. Now I'm gonna tell you,
No
Black
I want you to
people,
put us away. No other
Black
kind of
people
way.
do not go to white funeral homes for the most part.
And salons.
Oh, that's what we said. The truth. I don't want no white girl trying to put no perm in my head.
But we'll
Okay.
go to the Asians for our nails though.
Oh yeah.
I don't get
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I don't understand,
Yeah,
but
that's for sure.
they have cornered the market.
Yeah.
They have that.
That's right.
They
That's
fast. It's a lot of them. I mean,
Yes.
but with your hair, you identify. She know how to do hair. Look how pretty her hair is. Or
That's
whatever.
right.
That's interesting though.
That's right.
That's very, I don't know. I would love to know the
barbershop.
sociology and
Well,
psychology
it was
behind all of
also
that.
our church, though. The
Yes.
barber shops and beauty shops were our church of the day. It was how we disseminated
right.
information in our community.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right. So if you think about Cleveland in our market, there's three things that exist for sure on every corner. We have a church, we have a
Liquor
restaurant, and we have a salon. I mean, Black owned.
Oh yeah, now
Those-
that's
those-
right.
So the question I would even ask your guests to really think, this will be a test if they truly are committed to supporting Black businesses outside of your salon or barber and a restaurant. Can you name 10 businesses that are Black owned that you frequent on a regular basis?
And see, this is why it's so important. And I'm so glad you said that, because that's going to bring us around to this Real Black Friday. And I am excited to know about all of these businesses, because I want to make it my point to try to go to as many businesses, feature them on the show, do segments, because that's important. It's important to be able to use whatever platform you have to let people know. So Larice, you want to tell us about that?
Yes. So on Saturday, February 19th and Sunday, February 20th, we will be hosting the Real Black Friday. And the premise of the Real Black Friday was started 7 years ago this year to help to bring awareness and to create educational and networking opportunities for Black owned businesses. So how could we let something so historical and something that is on a national stage come into our city, and we not make sure that our community had access? So what we want to do is use that platform to not only bring awareness locally, but to hopefully somebody picks up a shirt and put it on social media because they have 10 million followers. And now this Black brand out of Cleveland goes viral. Now they're able to scale their brand. Now they're able to be in multiple markets, but they start here. So the goal is, of course, if they grow, the production starts in Cleveland. So the manpower is in our city. So again, very intentional about doing that. I picked Tower City for a reason. I didn't tell them that till about 2 weeks ago why I picked it. They asked me, why didn't you go to the convention center? They asked me to go to the convention center. They asked me to go to Wolstein. They asked me to go to some other, place they were hosting events. And I told them, if I can't do Tower City, I won't do it. And so again, I didn't tell the secret till I had the document signed. I said, the reason why I did Tower City is because 1, the RTA comes into the basement and it's the bus hub. 2, it is connected to 2 of the fanciest hotels in our city that we know the A-list stars are going to stay at. 3, is connected to the arena where you got to go do all your business and what brought you to Cleveland. So I know it's not, by happenstance, but they are going to show up, and let it be a snowstorm. You have no choice but to walk right through us and pick up some of our product. So again, very intentional. So I just, the goal is not just even to focus on the businesses that will be within Tower City, but that's why we have billboards up with 20 different Black business owners' faces on it. We have 32 billboards up from the airport and baggage claim to downtown to throughout Cleveland as we speak. We are featuring 7 to 10 businesses on Channel 5. 7 businesses on ESPN Cleveland, 7 businesses on Radio 1. So when I say I've never marketed something as much as I've marketed this, because my goal is not only for us to scale locally, but nationally as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, and that's a business model in and of itself. Like you said, this could be something, that you just take all around.
I love the fact that you're saying where the rapid runs into in the bus, that you wanted access. That's important.
It is
Inclusion.
very
Especially-
important.
Right,
Yeah.
and especially in
Inclusion.
the winter months, we can get right in there.
Mhm.
That's right. That's right.
That
So
that's so smart. It's like you said, so intentional, and it's so thoughtful. You know, it
Right.
really is. Now, how is it that you came to be involved in this? Did someone approach you? Did you approach the NBA, or how did that happen?
So I'm a Christian man first. I tell, that I'm known in this community as being a Christian man. So I give all,
Amen.
praise to God for every opportunity or
Mhm.
access or vision that's given. And I literally, when I heard about it, I heard it was coming to the city. And I didn't hear it, to be frank. I didn't hear about it till probably right around the summer. And it started to really get on my radar. Okay, this is coming. And I knew I hadn't done it since the pandemic. And people have been asking me, Larice, are you gonna, what are you doing next? Really, and then owning an accounting firm, I'm watching Black businesses. I tell people I don't have to read a book to see if Black businesses are struggling. I'm looking at financials,
that's
tax returns every day.
Mhm.
I see how our community they are struggling to
Yes.
make it. And I pray that the national statistic, that more than 40% of Black businesses will not make it through this pandemic.
Mm.
So I felt like, hey, if I could use this platform to help again, bring exposure to Black businesses, we're going to do that. So what I did was, I started to do my homework, and I was literally downtown meeting somebody at the Ritz. And so I'm standing in Tower City, like standing on the third floor, looking over the banister. And I'm like, man, this place is dead.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm like, this place is like a ghost town. And got home, and I don't know how the conversation started about the Real Black Friday. And I was like, oh, I'm doing it at Tower City. And my team thought I was crazy. They're like, Tower City?
Right.
And then how I knew it was God, then what happened was the city announced that they were getting ready to do like a $30-something million renovation to Tower City. And I said, oh, I'm definitely doing it now. Because the purpose of the Real Black Friday, everything I do, I have a thought to it. When I did Edgewater, we remember growing up in Cleveland, you stopped going to Edgewater because you might step on a crack needle.
Yeah.
Let's keep it real.
Yeah.
So it was not someplace we were happy to take our kids as adults, because we knew we remembered Edgewater.
Yeah.
The water was nasty, the sand was dirty. But when the Metro Parks took it back over and they beautified the place, I said, you know what? I need to bring back Black people back, so we can see, how what they've done to this park, so they can enjoy with their families at this point. Then when I did Public Square, same thing. Public Square was no place you hung out. There was no waterworks. There was no restaurant. That was a place you just kind of drove through and kept it moving.
Exactly.
So when they made it beautiful, I said, you know what? I'm bringing Black people back here so they can be reintroduced. Tower City, it's been desolate. They're going to reinvest in it. I'm bringing Black people back, so we make sure that we're a part of that opportunity. So again, when we do it, very strategic to make sure that our people feel like they had access before it blew up.
Oh, that is wonderful. I am so glad, because I walk through Tower City sometimes and it just makes me sad, because I can remember when it was so vibrant. I can remember when, when I was in law school, I used to catch the rapid through there, and it was all the stores and everything. And, so I was just like, this is just sad. And, it's just nothing. And I'm like, it's a beautiful structure. It has potential. But like, again,
It's
people want to go out to the suburbs. People go away, instead of enjoying.
But it was like
the
a ghost
jewelry
town.
there.
When my son got married down there this summer, and they took photos. They didn't have to ask anyone to move. I mean,
Right.
the whole area was just extremely clear.
Yeah.
And I had told my family, because we stayed at both of those hotels, that we would meet and have lunch there before the wedding. There was no place to do that.
It was
There was
right.
nothing that was open. And it was sad, because I had built it up. I hadn't been there recently, and I had no idea that it was such
It's like
a
a ghost,
hollow
like you said,
place
it's a
now.
ghost town. So that was just so smart on your part, Larice. It really is. And I'm looking forward to finding out how all of this turns out, because I keep hearing so many people saying, oh, I'm going, so much going on. It's just so much excitement.
It was so smart to connect it to this game. Genius.
Wow.
Genius. But then I saw there's so many other things been popping up. There's having these games, and Morgan State and Howard are playing, and then
CU,
Yeah.
then they're having this fashion show that Gloria James
The
is
Gloria
president of
James.
Central
Yes.
State is coming here at the
Yeah,
Caribou
Central
and having
State
a
is
reception.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it's just so many things that are going to be taking place. And I encourage everybody just to get downtown. They're talking about
right.
how much money is going to be made.
Oh
at
my
Cleveland-
gosh.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
So-
It'll be close to 9 figures when it's all
Wow.
said. So the infusion of stuff like this is unreal. I mean, when you got hotels sold out by June of the prior year,
Mhm.
that tells you something.
That's
You know,
amazing.
if you got people selling their house, they said, I'll go out of town. I'll
Oh,
go stay
yeah.
with my cousin and them in Detroit at Airbnb my
Yeah.
house.
Oh,
for
yeah.
$4,000 or
That's smart.
$5,000 a night, and people are doing that.
Yeah.
Maurice,
So
what
Ooh,
will
man.
the audience be? Will the audience be a combination of the community? I mean, how will it look?
yeah, so great question. So what I have been saying, and I don't apologize for speaking the truth, but what we do is we fill these stores up. We do, and spend money on everybody's store a lot of times except for our own.
Mhm.
So what I did is I challenged the community to come back and just like we do, come, show homage and respect to our community and spend money. So I put a goal around it that is 500,000 in 8 hours. That on Saturday, I'm asking that we run it up to $500,000, and I'm going to track it with a QR code. I'm putting a QR code on every table. That I
Oh,
will be able to see the sales, and it'll be live on our site.
ooh,
And
that's
you
going to be great.
thermometer
Oh, that's
going up.
nice.
100,000, 200,000.
Uh-huh.
So I can get on radio live and say, guys, I got 2 more hours. We're 125 down.
Wow.
Will you get me there? Come on down. It's not for me. This money's being infused into these
All
businesses.
right.
Don't let anybody leave a product. And even down to that, we're going to virtually. So I met with a company yesterday evening. So I'm not gonna promote that, because Black folks, if I say that it's gonna be virtual, they ain't coming. They're gonna be like, it's cold out there, Latrice, I'll catch you flying. So especially everybody used to Zoom too. So
Right.
I'm not gonna do that. But the day before,
Mhm.
I'm gonna mention that I'm kind of shifting a little marketing, and I'm gonna call it the virtual Black Wall Street.
Wow.
So I have cameras on all 3 floors that will be taping people spending money, so the nation can watch how we did it.
Yes.
So again,
Oh, I'm excited.
I'm really excited about
Oh.
it. And, it's just, so it will be very diverse.
Mhm.
My goal is, so what I've been doing, if I sit on a board and I don't see you there, this might be the wrong board for me.
Okay.
If I sit, if I do business with some corporation, I want to see you there. I don't want to see your assistant there. I want to see you there.
Yes.
Like if I have to be uncomfortable sitting at your board table every month, I want you to be uncomfortable
There you
coming to
go.
our community.
All right.
So
Well, you
again,
just preach.
This is the opportunity not to talk, but walk the walk,
All right.
walk the talk. So again, so all that being said is I'm hoping it's very diverse. And remember, most people who own NBA teams that are staying at the Ritz don't look like us.
That's right.
So they coming through the building. We're gonna make them love Black people that
Oh,
day.
I know that's right. Well, thank you so much. I have enjoyed having you. You are an inspiration.
Troy, you have to come back.
Yes,
Oh.
please come
we'll
love
back.
have
to.
to do a wrap up on
Oh.
how you reached that number and exceeded it.
And
There we go.
exceeded it. Yes. And
I
like
love
I
it.
said before,
Speak it.
I would love to showcase a lot of these Black businesses that are going to be featured. But thank you again. Make sure that you get down to Cleveland on February 19th and the 20th and patronize these Black businesses. And thanks again so very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Oh, I enjoyed him, Vanetta.
He was phenomenal.
He was phenomenal. He is very impressive. And I see why he has had the success that he had.
Right. He has the minus touch. I mean, because
Yeah.
he does a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's like he's a jack of all trades. He's right. But I enjoyed what he said about giving back and the importance of it. And that's it. That's the truth. You have to go back. You have to make sure that you are helping others, building them up, because that's the only way that we're going to all be successful.
That's absolutely true.
That's right.
And like he said, in his line of work, he can see direct comparisons of how our businesses are treated in comparison to majority business.
Right. That's right. So it's important. It's so important. Please patronize are Black and minority-owned businesses. And if you enjoyed this show, please continue to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And now we do have an audio podcast, and that's on Spotify and any other place that you get your podcast. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Public Opinion. Bye-bye.